All right. Well, hello, everybody. It's 10:15, so whoever's late now, I guess they're going to be interrupting us. Welcome to Certification 101. This session is being repeated today, which is great. That means we get to have the opportunity to talk to a lot of people that are getting excited about certification and looking to match their certification needs and certification goals. My name is David Alfasi, and I work for a company called NetLogon, and our primary purpose in life is to build certification exams, build certifications for large-scale programs like Microsoft. I'm also a technical guy from the Exchange Office 365 Azure side, and so I really love technology and love working on certification exams, and I've been doing this for quite some time. So what we're going to do now is talk about certification at Ignite, but we're also going to talk about certification all up. And the goal really is to give you a well-rounded view of what it is that we're doing here at Ignite and how you can use these resources to help your certification goals. So whatever those may be, whether they may be goals to improve your career or different goals that you have personally, we're going to talk about all the various options that you have. Some of those are new. Some of those may be new to you if you've been certified before and it's been a long time since you've taken a Microsoft certification, maybe since Windows Server 2008, 2003, 2000, NT 4.0. I can go all the way back. Certification started about 25 years ago, so there are some people that have been certified for a really long time. I got certified in Microsoft in 1996. On Windows 95 was my first Microsoft certification exam. And my last one was Windows Server 2016. So there's been a whole gamut, and there's a whole history there of certification. So we're going to talk about how you can get certified here. We're going to talk about which path you should take, because there are various paths, and sometimes they can seem a little bit confusing or daunting, so we're going to simplify those. We're going to talk about the different levels of Microsoft certifications. Then we'll talk about the exams themselves, tips and tricks on how to take certification exams and what you should look for and how they're built. And I find that if we demystify a lot of how these exams are built, it allows you to walk into an exam room and to feel a lot more confident about what you're trying to do and how you're going to tackle the questions in the exam. We'll talk about the different types of questions that you can encounter. Are they all multiple choice? Do I have a UI I have to work with? How does that work? So we'll talk about those things as well. And then we'll talk about learning resources. What resources you should use to prepare for an exam. At any point you have any questions, there's not 300 of us in here, so you can just raise your hand and ask me a question. I'll probably repeat it to make sure that it ends up in the recording. So first of all, Microsoft certification at Ignite. So we have a lot of resources at Ignite to help you in certification. The first thing that we have is we have 20 MCT ambassadors. Now the MCT ambassadors are Microsoft certified trainers. These are people that train individuals in Microsoft technologies all year round. Now, we've selected them based on a broad range of technical expertise that they have. So we have some MCTs that are Azure specialists, some that are Office 365, some that are developers, infrastructure. They have various ranges of specialties and technical certifications themselves. They are very knowledgeable on Microsoft certifications, but also on specific technologies, and can help you make those technical decisions on how to get to the various certification goals that you have. They're going to be working in various areas at Ignite. The primary area that we have is Certification Central, which is in the Hyatt. So if you go through the Hyatt on the way back to the other concourse, you will find Certification Central there. It's right above the Immersion Zone. So the Immersion Zone is a large area where you'll have lots of learning resources as well. In the Immersion Zone, you have Microsoft Learning Specialists as well there, including our MCT ambassadors. You'll recognize them because they'll wear shirts that say certifiable on them. Okay? So those are our MCT ambassadors. And they're really here to help you, and they're a great wealth of knowledge, and all they want to do is really to help people at Ignite. We have 19 exam prep sessions. Now, an exam prep session is a session that focuses on a specific exam. Let's say you want to get certified on exam 70-740 Windows Server 2016. So this is an exam specifically on Windows Server 2016. So this session will focus on all the technological aspects of that certification, and we'll dive deep in Windows Server 2016 content targeted to help you pass that exam. So it actually will look at a lot of topics that are covered in the exam, and some of those will go really much in depth. So this is truly a technical session. This is not a session to sell you a certification. This is a session to help you get ready for that certification. And they will focus it on that. And we have 19 of them. They're all in the schedule builder, and each one of them focuses on a different exam. We also have 50% off all certification exams here. To register for a certification exam, you just have to come to Cert Central at the Hyatt. You don't have to register in advance, and they'll register you right there, and it's about 50% off. Now, I'm sorry, it's exactly 50% off, but the exam price is about $150 minus 50%, so about $75. So it's a great deal here at Ignite. We're also going to have a promotion of certification exams that will be 40% off for several weeks after Ignite. And if you want to come and talk to the MCT ambassadors about that, we'll explain to you how to get that. As well, we have free Measure Up exams. Now, Measure Up exams are practice exams that simulate the environment of a live exam. So you actually get to see the UI of how you'd be taking the exams, and the questions are built very similarly to how the certification exam questions are built. And those are usually $150, $200, $300, but they're completely free here at Ignite. So if you come to the Cert Central, we'll set you up there with a machine, and you can take the certification Measure Up practice exams for free in a quiet room. And it's kind of like your last preparation step before you go in and take the exam. So you're about to go take the exam, you want to test your knowledge, you want to see if you're really ready in that breadth of knowledge that you need in order to pass your exam. Take a practice test, and that will let you know whether or not you're ready. All right. We also have lots of information there about all the various certifications, the paths, and we can help you on all of that in Cert Central. This is what Cert Central looks like. I like to put a blueprint because I think sometimes people really get to visualize it. So we have the testing room where you can take your exam. We have the study hall room where you can go take your practice test. And we have an exam prep room where we're actually running all of the CERT exam prep sessions, those 19 sessions I mentioned that were in the schedule builder. Yes, sir?
Are the Measure Up exams also available after Ignite?
No, so the question is, Measure Up exams, are they available for free after Ignite? No, so they're only available during Ignite for free. After that, you have to pay for them. But they're a great resource, so I suggest you do. Yes? So absolutely, you can go and take the Measure Up exam or the Measure Up practice test at any point. You're not obligated to have registered for an exam first. You can just walk in, and if you want to take your exam after Ignite and take the practice test now, use the resources now, you're welcome to do that as well. Yes, sir? Yes, I'm sorry. Today's Sunday, right? No, tomorrow. So Cert Central is not open today. We only open tomorrow. So as of tomorrow morning, you'll be able to do that.
Is there a limit?
There is no limit. So you can sit and take Measure Up practice tests all day long if you like. We'll be more than happy to have you. Yes, sir? Yes, we are open Monday to Friday. Friday, I believe we close around 2:30, 3 o'clock, something like that. I have the exact hour if you want to check with me later on. All right. So the certifications themselves and the program. So Microsoft certification program starts with the first step, which is the MCP, Microsoft Certified Professional. When you pass your first certification exam, this is the designation that you get. You become an MCP. Now there are many, many exams that you can take. All of those exams qualified for the next level certification, which is the MCSA and the MCSE. So the MCP, first level that you get by taking just one exam. Once you've taken that one exam, you can move on to the next step, which is an MCSA, or Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate. So this is an individual who knows how to work with technology, typically someone who has 1 to 2 years experience working with a specific product or a specific solution. For example, you could be an MCSA on Office 365. That requires 2 exams on Office 365, and now you have that designation where you are determined as an individual, or you're designated as an individual that has the ability to work with Office 365, implement, configure, manage Office 365 environment. So that is the purpose of that certification, is to identify you as this individual that has the proficiency to know how to work with this technology and implement and manage this technology. 1 to 2 years experience is typically where we have that initial cutoff point. It doesn't mean that if you have more than 2 years experience, you cannot be an MCSA. It's just that that's where the minimum is in terms of what we're looking at, that minimally qualified candidate for an MCSA designation or certification. It requires passing 2 exams in most cases. In some cases, it's 3 exams. The example for that is the Windows Server MCSA. So Windows Server 2016 MCSA will require 3 exams. Most other ones will require 2 exams. Then you're ready to move on to the next step, which is the Solutions Expert, the MCSE. The MCSE, you've heard about it. It's been along for a very long time, since the days of NT 4.0. And the MCSE is really the individual that knows how to implement multiple technologies together as global solutions. So we talk more about the why and the when rather than the how. So at this point, you're identifying why you should implement this technology as opposed to this solution, and when you should put into place when you're implementing multiple aspects of the solutions together. So there are more elements involved. There are more environmental constraints. There's more involved to identifying what needs to be done with the technology. And once you identify it as MCSE, this is the top level certification within Microsoft Learning. So someone typically who has 3 to 5 years experience, it is the next step after the MCSA. Now we've simplified this process where if you become an MCSA, you just need 1 more exam and then you are an MCSE. Okay? So the MCSE path has been simplified now that it only requires, in most cases, 3 exams, in some cases, 4 exams. All right? Now we have something also relatively new in the MCSE is the optional recertification. So when you get certified on Azure, for example, you're certified in Azure in 2016, let's say. Well, you guys know very much that Azure is a continuously changing product and it's a continuously changing technology. Somebody who's proficient in Azure in 2016, in 2018, those skills might be a little bit outdated. So how can I identify myself as an expert on Azure on the current version of Azure? Well, certification allows you to recertify and therefore have a more current version of that certification. So MCSA on Azure 2016 and MCSA on Azure 2018. So you can identify yourself as a current Azure expert. And that also means that the Microsoft certification exams are continuously being updated as Azure is being modified. And that is true of all the certifications and all of the products that Microsoft has certifications on. All right? So recertification is a great option that you have as part of the MCSE. Yes, sir? So that 3-year requirement has been removed, and this optional recertification is what replaces it. So the gentleman asked a question about there used to be a recertification requirement for the MCSE that has been retired. All right, so how do you keep current? As I mentioned, you have the option to recertify or re-earn your certification every year. Each time you re-earn the certification, a new certification entry will be added to your transcript. So it will say MCSA Cloud Platform 2016, MCSA Cloud Platform 2018. The process replaces the existing requirement of recertifying. Okay? So that's the 3 levels of certifications: MCP, MCSA, and MCSE. I didn't talk about the MCSD there, but the MCSD is at the same level as the MCSE. MCSD is Solutions Developer. That one is aimed at developers, and it really works exactly the same way as an MCSE. But I'm going to talk here about the paths. So there are various certification paths, and I'll break down through those ones. Every dot that you have there on that screen is an MCSA. The boxes at the end are your MCSEs. There are various paths to get to the same place. So if I want to become an MCSD app builder, for example, I have 2 MCSAs that I can take. I can choose between the MCSA web applications or Universal Windows Platform. Those are my 2 options. And then I take 1 more exam, 1 elective, and I get my MCSD. The same is true of all the MCSEs here there. You have all of the paths that determine how you get to your MCSE. One of the most popular one is MCSA Cloud Platform. So that's the Azure one I was talking about before. So MCSA Cloud Platform will require 2 exams, and then after that you take an elective and you attain the MCSE Cloud Platform and Infrastructure. So the first path that we look at is the MCSA path for Windows 10. It's called the mobility path. And that requires 2 exams, as I mentioned, 698 and 697. And then we have elective exams. Now, those elective exams, you can take any one of those. Note that some of them are being retired. And Microsoft will sometimes retire exams, as new ones will replace them, or if the technology is no longer being emphasized and there is a new technology that replaces it. Sometimes it has to do with the way that we manage the technology as well. So MCSA Windows 10, by taking 697, 698, one more, you get your MCSE mobility. All right. Anybody here in the room planning at some point to take an MCSE mobility, looking towards an MCSE mobility? No? All right. Windows 10, Windows client. Let's not dismiss the client. That's right. Let's not forget the Windows 10 client, right? We all need our operating system on our desktops. Sometimes, you know, it's not looked at as the Cadillac certification, but it's very important. Next up is probably one of the most popular ones. It's a cloud platform and infrastructure path. So this is where you'll find your Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016, and your Azure. Now, I want to point out here that there are new certification exams that are going to be released that we're announcing this week. And you'll see them there as the Azure exams. The first one is 537, which is configuring and operating a hybrid cloud with Microsoft Azure Stack. So this exam will be available December, January, at some point over the winter break or the transition to the new year. You'll find exam 70-537 become available. As well, there are 2 more elective exams in the elective pool, 538 and 539. Azure DevOps, and Linux workloads on Azure. So those 2 exams will be available at some point in 2018. We're not sure exactly when yet. So, for example, you want to become Azure certified with Microsoft, you have to take 2 of these 4 exams, 532, 533, 534, 537. 532, developer. It's really an exam for people who are truly developers on Azure. 533, you're an infrastructure person, you manage virtual machines, you create services, you manage workloads on Azure. 533 is your infrastructure exam. And then 534 is your architecture exam. So this one really has a little bit about when you use JSON to implement certain tasks and when you are managing large-scale software-defined networking inside of your Azure infrastructure. All of those things in terms of the why and the when of managing your Azure infrastructure will be in 534. It's more of an architecting exam. So 2 of those, including the Azure Stack, is another one of those that you can pick from. And you have your MCSA Cloud Platform. Take one more exam. Any one of those in the list. They could be a Windows Server exam. They could be a Windows Server 2012 or 2016 exam, or they could be an Azure exam. And then you have your MCSE Cloud Platform and Infrastructure. Anybody here in the room looking to go towards MCSE Cloud Platform, Infrastructure, Azure certified, maybe? There's a lot of stuff there. It's certainly an involved certification, but if you're working in Azure and if you're building solutions or managing solutions in Azure, this is certainly the certification that you want to go for. If you're working on premises with Windows servers, it's clear that the Windows Server solution or the Windows Server certification, MCSA Windows Server 2016, is the one you're looking for. Also 3 exams for this one. So one of them will be on managing the servers, one of them will be managing networking, and the other one will be on Active Directory, essentially. So 740, server management implementation, 741, all networking, DHCP, DNS, WINS, well, probably not too much WINS, TCP IP, etc. And then after that, you've got your 742, which is really your Active Directory management and everything that's related to identity. Okay? Those 3 exams together get you that MCSA Windows Server 2016. And then if you want, you can take an Azure exam as an elective. And you can round up your cloud and platform and infrastructure, MCSE, by having an Azure exam as one of your electives. And you see here, you have a large amount of electives. Some of those have to do with big data. Some of them have to do with machine learning. Some of them can have to do with the Azure Stack or DevOps that we were just talking about before. All right? Next up here, just a recommended path that you can take if you want to go down that route. As I mentioned, 533, 537 could be a good starting point. Going into the architecture, 534. And then after that, we can recommend one of the newer exams as the elective. So this is just an example of a recommended path, depending on your role. If you're a DevOps individual, if what you do is DevOps, you may want to start in the developer realm. So 532, as I mentioned, is the developer Azure exam. Then over the architecture exam that has some developer content in it as well. And then the DevOps elective that gives you that MCSE. So this is a full rounded path as an Azure DevOps individual that gives you that true certification that represents your actual skills. And that is really the goal of certification, is to ensure that we're representing your actual skills. Productivity path, this is the path that is purely Windows Server based. And also Office 365. So this is where we're going to find, again, our 2 Windows Server MCSAs. So the Windows Server MCSAs are basically prerequisites or can be used to attain 2 different MCSEs, the Cloud Platform and Infrastructure or the Productivity MCSE. As well, here we have the Office 365 MCSA. And again, a long list of electives, and some of those are on-premise products. So 331, SharePoint Server 2013, on-premise product, and really an interesting solution, as well as all the Exchange Server exams and Skype for Business exams. So you could take those, or the Office 365 that deals with all of the online versions of those products. Data management and analytics. So these are newer paths. This is where you find all your SQL, your SQL BI. This is where you'll find also some new paths around data science. So data science is a large focus of Microsoft certifications and Microsoft all up lately. And this is where you'll find the cloud services that support the data science solutions, certifications on those. So whether it be analyzing big data, whether it be visualizing data, whether it be implementing the infrastructure that's going to support that data, we have the various certifications that are available to represent those skills. There are some that are going to be available later on, such as the NoSQL exam, CosmoDB. This is going to be available at some point in 2018, resulting in the Azure Database Development, MCSA. So again, this is where SQL, people who live in that SQL world, whether it be on premises or whether it be in the cloud, this is where we're going to have those certifications. And these are some various paths that you can take. If you want to start in that role of the data analytics role, maybe 773 is a good place to start. That's where you find your R server. Then moving on to performing cloud data science with Azure Machine Learning. So this is analyzing data in Azure, machine learning components of Azure, and there are many, including Data Lake and other components that are part of Azure that are reflected in these various solutions. 473, 475 could be your electives. This is where we have also implementing the Cloud Data Platform solution. So that's SQL for Azure, essentially. Implementing SQL database, Azure SQL database, whether it be platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, the various solutions for implementing that data platform solution, those will be in 473 and 475. If you're a developer, your path is still relatively simple and has been similar for a while, in the sense that 480 and 483 are still going to be your starting points. So programming in C#, programming in HTML5, they're not reinventing C# every day. It's pretty much works the same way. These exams are continuously being updated to reflect the changes in Visual Studio. But besides that, the technology is pretty similar to the way it's been several years ago. And if you have C# skills, they are likely still current for you and take those certifications today, even if your C# skills are continuous from several years ago. You have many electives here as well for your MCSE and MCSD. And this is the only MCSD. This is the MCSD App Builder. And the various electives here, you'll find that the Azure exams are again available as electives, including 532 and 534, because they include Azure development content. So this is really targeted for developers. All right, so that's your certification paths. And when I started that section of certification path, you had that big slide with the boxes and all the dots, and there's a lot of them. And what we did, we just broke them down a little bit, okay? So they seem a little bit more palatable. There are several paths, but to get to those paths is really quite simple. 2 exams, MCSA, 1 more exam, MCSE. At the end of the day, that's really all you need to attain to get that valuable MCSE certification. And that brings me to the next topic, which is, what is the value? What is that value of certification? Well, there is a different perspective to that value depending on who you are and what it is that you're looking for. So certifications give you and a workforce an edge by taking careers to the next level. That's what we say. And what really that means is that it gives you the ability to differentiate yourself from individuals that are not certified. Certification alone is not the way to increase the career. Certification and experience together allow you to grow your career. But many people gain that experience, but never also attain that formalized certification, that ability to actually say, hey, I've been working with this technology, but now a third-party body has actually certified me as being fully knowledgeable and having passed the requirements of saying that, yes, I am fully proficient with this technology. And that's really what makes the difference. And if you're looking at the gains, there are gains for you as an individual, there are gains for your career, there are gains for your employer also, and there's gains for the community. Now, the way that I look at the gains for the individual and the career, that's pretty simple, and I'm going to break them down in a couple of minutes. But the ones that are not always as evident is the gains for your employer. Your employer feels a lot more safe about having you being certified. It means that Microsoft has ensured that you as an individual are certified and that you are more qualified, that your qualifications have been verified and validated as somebody who can work with this technology. So in terms of confidence, that usually is something that we find. As well as gains for the community. We find that individuals typically who are certified are more likely to help others. They're more confident in their skills, and they're more likely to help others in the community, whether that be in the public forum community or whether that be in your local community in person. We find that certified individuals can help others in attaining those skills, whether that be to get certified themselves or to just help them in their technological needs. Now, the gains for the individuals, of course, individual confidence. If I get certified, I feel more confident about my skills. I gain more knowledge because in order to become certified, I may work with 8 aspects of the technology, but 2 of those aspects are things that, hey, I don't do every day. I manage Active Directory, but I don't always implement AD Connect. I don't do that regularly, and I need a little bit of help. So I'm actually going to go and gain that additional knowledge just to pass the exam. Well, the result of that is I'm going to become more knowledgeable in AD Connect, and later on, I may open up some additional opportunities to be able to use that technology in another job or even in my own position. Create goals for deeper learning. As soon as you start to see all the objectives that are in the exam, you may say, hey, you know what? I feel like my learning has been a little bit at the surface level, and I may need to go a little bit deeper. And that may pique some interest that wasn't there before. So we find that a deeper learning path is definitely a great gain for the individual. And inspire others through achieving your own goals. As you're embedding yourself and gaining those certifications, that demonstrates to other people that work with you, other people around you, that you're really working hard on yourself and you're working hard towards your own goals. For your career, it demonstrates drive, commitment, and initiative, and it's clear that it demonstrates to an employer and to coworker that you're taking this very seriously. It's a tangible way of demonstrating a mastery of the product, understanding that depth knowledge of the product, again, even in areas that you may not be using on a day-to-day basis. Sets you apart from your peers at review time, and it gives you recognition by the industry. And there's different ways that we provide that recognition that I'll talk about in a few minutes. Typically, people who are certified just earn more money. And that's on average given, but this is something that we find throughout. So we can talk about the various altruistic reasons why we're going to be certified and the various gains for our confidence, but at the end of the day, there are some tangible benefits as well. And one of those is also proving your success with badges. So badging is something that Microsoft has introduced recently, and when I say recently, I'm going to say probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. gives you the ability to attain these badges that can then be shared. You all know about the strong integration with Microsoft and LinkedIn, and these badges can be available and visible in LinkedIn through a third party, and those identify you as a certified individual. So based on your certifications, and as soon as you pass and attain a certification, you'll automatically get an email with the option to download your badge and make it available and visible. And badges are really, really important today in employability. This is just a search that I did a couple days ago, looking at various job openings. 4,580 current job openings in anything that's Microsoft Cloud Expert solutions in the United States alone. So there's a lot of opportunities, and people that look through tools like LinkedIn in order to identify people that are skilled. Badging is a great way to either filter or identify easily individuals that have those certifications. So definitely a great way to differentiate yourself from the average certified person. All right, now the exams. So here we get into a little bit more of the weeds of the components that make up the certification and what experience you can kind of expect in terms of the exam. So something that everybody needs to understand is that there are different types of questions. There's a level of exams I didn't talk about before because it's typically below what you guys would ever take, which is the Microsoft Office Specialist exam. This is exams that people would take in order to become proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, for example. Most people that are coming to Ignite are not trying to get a certification in PowerPoint. And so those exams, the MOS exams, Microsoft Office Specialist exams, those are performance-based, which means that there's a little bit of an emulated environment that people walk into. It's an HTML5-based environment where they walk into and they perform various tasks in Word, and then their end state is validated in order to identify whether they pass or fail. Okay? So those are typical MOS-type questions. You also have MTA exams, which also I didn't talk about, Microsoft Technology Associate, because again, it's a little bit lower level than what I would expect you guys to take. It's really the basis of like an operating system or what is a protocol. This is what we expect people at the academic level as an entry into technology would take. You guys are not at the technology entry level. So you guys are moving on to the next level, which is MCSA and MCSE questions. Now, MCSA and MCSE questions, they'll start off with multiple choice. You can expect that about half of your exam will be multiple choice questions. Okay? Simple question, 4 answers, 1 of them is correct, 3 are incorrect, or 2 of them are correct, and 2 of them are incorrect, or 3 of them are incorrect. We'll tell you. So when you take the question, we'll actually tell you how many are correct and how many are incorrect. You also have questions like build list. A build list where you actually have to pick 3 steps, and then you have to put them in order. Again, we'll tell you how many steps you need to pick and whether or not you need to put them in order. You'll have various questions where you have to interact with the UI. So you have a drop-down list, and you have to pick things from a list. So how many servers should you deploy? Well, 5 servers in the Redmond office, 8 servers in the Miami office, and 12 servers in the New York office. Okay? So you can actually interact and go from the drop-down list and actually pick your solution, so things that would not be an actual multiple choice. Then you have hot area question. A hot area question is a question where you have a UI, kind of like a graphic representation of a network, for example, where you have servers here, and you have routers here, and you have your internet connection, and you have this path between this office and that office, and you actually have to click on one of those to identify your answer. You have to click on one of the areas in the screen, make it hot, so that you identify what answer is correct. So a little bit of interaction. You also have questions where you have what we call a graphic interpretation. So we'll actually give you a whole network. We'll give you an output from a PowerShell command. We'll give you another graphic that represents a screenshot from an Active Directory management tool. And we'll ask you a question. You say, based on these graphics, is user 1 going to be able to access share 1? And then you need to derive, based on the information that you have, whether that user will be able to access that share. So we call it graphic interpretation, allowing you to interpret with the information that you find and then derive from that a status of how the environment is configured. So you would expect to see those types of questions in MCSA and MCSE exams, along with something called a case study. A case study is basically a whole bunch of words that gives you a whole scenario about an environment. It tells you about how many offices they have, how many users they have, what the CEO thinks of the company, where they plan to go, what are their technical requirements, how many servers they want, what are their budget requirements, what are they looking for in terms of their technical goals. You get all that information about the environment, and then you get several small questions or several short questions that always refer back to that environment. And then you need to sift through all of that information in order to identify what's going to be relevant for you to get to that correct answer. And this really simulates a real-world environment or situation for a consultant. When a consultant walks into an organization, they get a whole bunch of information about what's going on in the company, and then they have to sift through that to identify what recommendations they should make, what Azure solution they should implement, where should the Exchange servers go, how many Skype for Business PBXs should they implement, and where should they put them in the environment. All of that information is in your case study. And then your questions will just ask you to refer back to your case study. This is something that you'll find only in MCSE elective exams. Because remember, I told you before, the MCSE is a lot about the why and the when you deploy technology. Well, what's more representative of the why and the when than a whole case study when you have to find the why and the when inside of that depth of information? So how should you interpret the questions? And what's nice is that the questions are really built the same way. Every question that you will take has the same anatomy. First, it will have something called a business problem. The business problem usually starts with you have. You have an environment in Azure that contains 5 Azure SQL databases. You plan to consolidate the 5 databases into a single database. This is your overall business problem. This is your overall environment. Then you have a goal. The goal will always start with the same 3 words. And this is great because from now on, if you ever take a certification exam, you will look for those 3 words and they will be there in every single question that you take. And it will be, you need to. The sentence that starts with, you need to ensure that that SQL Azure database is replicated in 3 regions. That is your goal statement. That is that you need to statement. And that you need to statement is directly going to be followed by your answer choices. And your answer choices will always relate to that you need to statement, which means they will provide that answer to that you need to question. You need to ensure that that SQL database needs to be replicated to 3 Azure regions. The answer? Ensure that you implement geolocation in Azure, something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I know it sounds more or less like that. So your answer is going to always refer to that you need to statement. So when you are looking for a you need to statement in your question, that is the most important sentence in that question. Everything else in your question supports that you need to question. Everything else sets up the environment so that you can accurately answer you need to implement or replicate that database to multiple Azure regions. So 1 or multiple correct answers, again, we will tell you. And then we will have distractors. Distractors are incorrect answers. Okay, answers that are 100% incorrect. Now, you need to remember something very important when you're taking certification exams. Certification exams are not designed to trick you. The goal is for you to pass the exam. And people don't always get that. They say, well, what do you mean people should pass? Yes. If you are qualified, you should pass the exam. The goal is not to trick you into failing. The goal is to ensure that you pass if you are qualified, but that you must also fail if you are not qualified. See, when we develop an exam and somebody that is unqualified fails, we do good. But if somebody that is qualified also fails, then we failed at building a valid exam. Because we need to ensure that the person who is qualified passes the exam so that they can identify themselves as being certified and as being knowledgeable in the technology. So it's very important that we do not trick you. So if you are confident with your skills and you go and take an exam and you're looking at a question and you're like, I really think the answer is A. but I think they're trying to trick me into picking B. I think A is too obvious. I think really it should be C. A is just too obvious. I think it's A, but it's too obvious. This got to be tricky. C's got to be the answer. Chances are A was the correct answer. Chances are your gut was right, because we did not try to trick you. There is no purpose in certification in tricking you. If you leave with anything from this session, then at least let it be that. So I mentioned before that there's multiple types of questions. One question type that you will not see anymore, and I just realized a mistake in my deck, is choose all that apply. You will not see choose all that apply questions. Okay? We will tell you choose 1, choose 2, choose 3, but we will never tell you choose all that apply. You have some questions also if you're a developer where you actually get to put in some code. So you can complete the code that is in the existing question. Typically, you will see that in T-SQL. So if you take a T-SQL exam, you can do code completion where you're actually going to complete your T-SQL command in the question. So a nice interaction. I think we've talked about all those. So this is what a multiple choice question will look like. Again, choose one or choose multiple. If you see a radio button, by the way, it means there's only one. Radio button only allows you to choose one. If you see checkboxes, that means that you can pick more than one. Pretty simple. Sometimes you'll have what we call extended matching question. Extended matching question means that you have 8 answers, 8 answer choices, and you'll have 5 questions that use the same 8 answer choices. So again, 8 answer choices that are repeated across 5 questions. But the 5 questions are different. So 5 different questions, same set of answers. We call those extended matching. Case study, as I mentioned, we have a whole bunch of text. We have buttons on the left-hand side navigation that allow you to go back to the various areas of the case study. And then you can actually answer each question one by one, still being within that case study. Drag and drop is an example I didn't mention before, which is something that a question type that allows you to drag an object from the left into the right. So that object may be a server, maybe a name, maybe a phrase, maybe a technology, something that you're dragging from the left and putting into a table or putting into a diagram. You're dragging something from section A and putting it in section B. And hot area is what I mentioned before, where you have a graphical interface, and sometimes that graphical interface can be a screenshot, and you just have to click one of the buttons in that interface that has been activated for the purpose of the question. Short answer code, I mentioned earlier, is a type of question where you actually fill in the code, and again, if it's a T-SQL exam, then you'll have to complete your T-SQL command by just typing it out. Now, some basics about taking a certification exam. Typically, you'll have 40 to 60 questions. It'll be 1 to 4 hours. Really, it's an hour and a half most of the time. 4 hours are beta exams, exams where we give you the entire, a larger number of questions, and those are by invitation only. All questions are worth 1 point, except if we tell you they're not worth 1 point. So sometimes you'll see a question, we'll say, this question is worth more than 1 point. Other questions, we will not mention that because they are worth 1 point, which means they're more or less equal in terms of pointage. You don't get negative points for answering a question wrong. So when you're going through the exam, don't ever leave a question blank because you'll get 0 for sure. Okay, so answer something even if sometimes you have to take a little bit of a guess. It's part of taking an exam. Okay, so no negative points. Once you go inside a case study and you complete your case study, you cannot go back into the case study. So you can't go into one case study and go back into another. Once you've completed that case study, it's locked in. Every other question in the exam, you can move back and forth. So you answer a question later on, you're like, oh, you know what? I just remembered about the way that we implement high availability in Exchange. I need to go back to that previous question. You can do that unless that question is in a case study. If that question is part of that large scenario of a case study, you cannot do that. Now 700. 700 is an aspect of the exam that confuses a lot of people. 700 is the passing score. A passing score for every single exam is 700. Does that mean that every single exam has a pass score of 70%? No. And the pass score is not published, so you will never know what the pass score is for your exam. What you will know is that there is a weighted process that is a pretty evolved process that Microsoft goes through to set the pass score, and that weighted process ends up with the number 700. So 700 on an Azure exam and 700 on a developer exam could be two completely different things. One could be a pass score of 55% and the other could be a pass score of 80%. You won't know, but they're all weighted and averaged out to 700. Okay, so 700 is what you'll see, and you'll see whether or not you attain higher or lower than 700. What to expect when you arrive? Well, when you go and take an exam, it's at a Pearson testing center, unless you do it here. But they'll do the same thing, which is it's a closed book exam. You have to present a piece of ID. You're not allowed to bring your phone, your electronics, and you'll have to put everything in secure storage. By the way, what you see here is exactly what we do here at Ignite and what you expect at any of the worldwide testing centers of Pearson. But there's a new option that's been available for a couple of years now, is you can take the exam at home. Okay? So you can actually have the option of having a home proctored exam, which basically means that you're sitting at your computer, you're downloading a special client, and you're logging in to the exam. Somebody, a proctor, will actually validate where you are in your house, making sure that there's no books, and there's some requirements in terms of validating with a camera what's going on in the room around you, making sure there's no additional monitor, nobody there to help you, and they proctor you as part of the exam, except you're at home. So of course you are being filmed by your own camera at that point. You're being watched by the proctor to ensure that you're not cheating on the exam. Okay? So this is really great for people who live very far away from testing centers. If that means you have to travel hours and hours to a testing center, well, having that option is really an amazing option. Don't panic during the exam. Stay calm. Very important. Get a good night's sleep. Be very relaxed. You won't know every question, and that's okay. You don't need to know every question to pass the exam. By the way, in order to be certified and to be proficient in the technology doesn't mean that I need to know everything about that technology. I need to be really good at that technology, and I need to hit that bar, that requirement bar, something that has been set by people who are also proficient in the technology that have identified how many questions you need to get right. Okay, so it's a weighted process, again, that Microsoft goes through with technical experts so that they can set that pass score, that bar as who is qualified and who is not qualified. Now, the learning resources is the last thing I want to talk about, which is how do you prepare for these exams? And before I go through the various learning resources they are, I want to just highlight the fact that the primary resource for you to successfully pass the certification exam is to actually work with the technology. Right? Get your hands on the technology, work with it, implement it, troubleshoot it, support it, break it, fix it. As much as you can use it, it will prepare you better for the exam. That is the #1 preparation tool. But let's say you use it every day. You're at work and you implement and you support Windows Server 2016, but now you want to go and take the exam. So what are you going to do is you're going to go to the exam page. Every exam has a page, a preparation page. And that preparation page lists all of the resources. And if you see, it's a little bit small there, but essentially in the URL, it has the number of the exam. And actually, if you go to Microsoft.com, which is Microsoft.com/learning, to the Microsoft Learning website, you will see all of the certification exams there. You will see all the paths to the exams there. And you can go to any one of those exams. And when you go to that exam, you see details about that exam, which languages it's available on, when it was published, what path it's part on. You also have a button there to schedule it. But then you see the most important thing about that exam, which is the list of exam objectives. And you see them here. In this exam, there happens to be a lot of objectives, but normally there's about 4 buckets. Most exams have 3, 4, or 5 buckets of information or of objectives that are covered in the exam. Those little plus signs, they expand so that you see more information about each one. And you know that each one has a percentage associated to it. So for example, planned desktop and device deployment for this exam represents 10 to 15% of the questions of the exam. So you can see how much importance is assigned to it in the exam when you're trying to weigh how much time you should study on that. How much of it you know already? How much of it you actually work with already? Now, how current is this? Because this is an exam on Windows 10, but I know that Windows 10 keeps on changing. There's updates, anniversary update, creator update. All of these updates to these products Are they included in this exam or are they not included? Well, every exam has the date of the last time it was updated. So it says here, as of March 2017, this exam was updated. So you know that every bit of information that is in this exam is March 2017 and older. Okay? So you don't have to wonder if a new update that was made available in January 2017 was included or not included in that exam. So you get that information from the exam page. And as I mentioned, all of these buckets of information get expanded. So you want to know what's in planned desktop and device deployment. What does it really mean? Well, it means migrating and configuring user data. Well, can I have more examples on that? Well, we're talking about migrating user profiles and folder locations and roaming profiles versus mandatory profiles. So we get a lot of details about what is being covered in the exam so that you can focus your learning. So what resources can you use? Well, the resources can be instructor-led. I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation MCTs, Microsoft Certified Trainers. They are the only people who are certified by Microsoft on actually teaching Microsoft official curriculum. So Microsoft official curriculum, instructor-led training, is designed and built by Microsoft to prepare you for the exam. So essentially, all the objectives that are covered in the exam are covered in the course. So the instructor will teach you everything that there is to know about these various objectives, and that is what will prepare you as well for those exams. If you prefer to do self-paced training, there are Microsoft Press kits that you can purchase. You can take an edX course, a MOOC course. So these largely free courses. Microsoft puts a lot of those on the edX platform. You can take them for free, or if you want to have a certificate of completion, there are some minimal costs associated to that as well. You can take practice tests, as I mentioned before. Those are great learning tools as well to identify what you know and what you don't know. So to summarize in terms of the learning resources, it's clear that the Press kits are great, Microsoft Press Kit for self-paced training. The edX courses or the MOOC courses, edX.org is where you'll find a lot of those, which target as well various technology or Microsoft technologies. Instructor-led training, which allows you to actually sit in a physical room or a virtual room with a presenter that's going to teach to that topic. Those are all great resources. Another set of free resources that you have are MVA or Microsoft Virtual Academy courses. If you go to Microsoft.com/learning, you can go to the Microsoft Virtual Academy that provides a lot of free training on the various technologies, and some of them are even focused on specific certification exams. All right? I mentioned before the Measure Up practice test. The Measure Up practice tests are not necessarily available for all exams. Typically, when an exam comes out, there's a little bit of a lead time for the practice test to be created. But I can say today that most practice tests, most exams are covered by a practice test from Measure Up. And the Measure Up practice test really boosts your confidence and ensure that you have a better pass rate. And they've done some studies. They've actually looked at people who have purchased practice tests as opposed to people who have not. And the people who purchase practice tests do more on average or have a greater pass rate on average than people who do not. So they are a really great practice tool and a study tool. I use it really in order to validate that I have all of the knowledge that I need to have in order to pass an exam. All right? All right, so in summary, in terms of the resources we have here, Cert Central, you can go and take your exam. If you're not sure, you're not 100% confident about your skill in passing the exam, remember, the best way to really know whether or not you're ready to take the exam is go ahead and take the exam. What's the worst that can happen? At least you'll be exposed to the depth of knowledge, you'll be exposed to how much is being covered in the exam, and you'll have a great overview of how much you need to study in addition in order to pass the exam. It'll give you a great perspective on it. And the fact that they're at 50% off here at Ignite doesn't happen anywhere else. It's really a great opportunity. I encourage you to do that. We have about 100 seats that are available in our testing center, and we have the same opening hours as the immersion zone. So immersion zone downstairs, when they're open, we're open. So I recommend that you come and see us, talk to an MCT ambassador at any point, and discuss those, your learning path, your learning goals with them. All right? Anybody have any more questions on the stuff that we've talked about so far? Yes? edX, edx.org. And actually, if you go to Microsoft.com and you look up or Microsoft.com/learning, and you look up a specific exam, if there is an edX course that maps to that exam, it will be listed in the preparation page of that exam. All right? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. At the exam to bring photo ID and a second ID?
Yeah. In some places worldwide, they do require 2 pieces of ID. Here we don't. So just to be safe, bring 2 pieces of ID. But here, 1 piece of ID is enough. Yes?
What are the hours for your cert center, and also to take the practice test, do you have to make an appointment, or you can just come do it whenever?
So the hours of Cert Central, we are open tomorrow starting 12:30, so after the keynotes, until 6 o'clock. And then every day this week, we are open from 7:30 in the morning until 6 o'clock, except for Friday, where we close at about 3 o'clock. In terms of the practice tests, you don't need to make an appointment. You need to do anything. You come to Cert Central, again, 3rd floor in the Hyatt. You talk to an MCT ambassador there. There'll be 4 or 5 of them there. And you say that you want to take a practice test. They'll set you up in our room in the study hall. And we have about 80 machines there. So there'll certainly be room for you. And you sit down and you take a practice test for as long as you want. Okay? And they'll show you how to get that started. Yes, sir? It's second floor, yes. I guess here in the States, the first floor, I'm Canadian, first floor is ground floor, right? So that would be the second floor. Thank you, Mark. Mark is one of our MCT ambassadors that will be there all week. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you very much.